How you doing, guys? Part 2 of the examination of this 1956 RJ35. Today what we did is we took apart, I guess you would call it the right side of the tractor when you're sitting on it. Last video I took apart the gear case cover side. I wanted to take a look and see what we had involved with fixing or restoring this side of the tractor, and honestly it really isn't that bad. It's pretty standard form. The only thing, as you can tell, is the backing plate itself is no longer on the tractor, and I'm going to show you why. Overall, the axle end is not in bad shape. The keyway is a little beat up. I'm going to make a determination when I take the axle out of this thing whether or not I'm going to go 180 degrees and take the axle over to my buddy's shop and remachine a new keyway, probably on both ends of the axle. I haven't quite figured out that extent of it at this point, but it's looking a little beat up. What we have here is basically an exploded view of junk, but we'll dive right in. It's pretty simple. The hub itself is a classic hub. Oops, got some greasy grass stuck to it. Overall, nothing that I haven't seen before. The teeth on this side are worn out. So if I wanted to reuse this hub, I'm gonna have to go through the re-welding of the teeth process like I've shown in my other videos. We're probably gonna do that to this hub. The opposing hub on the gear case cover side with the brake band, actually the teeth are real nice, so it's not going to need anything, but it will need the single ear to be fixed because that's stripped out and cracked. So we'll fix all that up. You'll never even know that it happened. Same with this. We'll re-weld all those teeth, regrind them, and this hub will be basically brand new. The shim that goes on the end of the axle, that is totally blown out. So I have extra shims in a box. So I'm going to dig those up, and then we'll find one that will work, because that needs to be replaced. Has the original lug nuts from '56 because they're flat. They don't have any kind of markings. The other wheel only has 2 of them. I think I have 1 of these in a box somewhere. So I'll have all 6 correct lug nuts when I get done. The paw on this side is equal to the other paw. There's some wear, some kind of, things got flipped around. Obviously the spring that was in the original paw arm is gone. This, somebody shoved a piece of steel. I mean, they did a valiant job on it, but it's not original. So we'll have to make a new arm. I might even use this piece of steel, but reshape it like it's supposed to be, and resize it to the original dimensions. Now the backing plate. The backing plate is right here. It is, get a better look. It's a little worn out, and the reason why is this. I found, the guy gave me a box of little bits and pieces and parts, and what I found was the original paw arms in the box. I should probably dig it out, show you. And as in my other video, there's a little spring that goes into the paw arm which creates the resistance when the axle spins, to make it go up and down. What they did is they shoved a screw in there, and then the screw head dragged along the backing plate. It also dragged along the gear case cover, and I'll talk about that in a second. So there's some heavy duty groove marks, but these little nubs are original, and what they were is they were the actual click marks for the springs. And that is what creates the resistance to go back and forth. The spring is not actually supposed to drag on the backing plates. It's supposed to click, 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 click. You're actually supposed to hear a clicking noise when these things are freewheel. But the nubs are in good shape. The backing plate is in fairly straight form. I might have to just tap it. What it must have done is it must have broke off the axle end, because it's supposed to, the backing plate is supposed to be welded to the axle end, but it must have broke off. So what they did was they braze welded a piece of pipe to the backing plate. They drilled a couple little nipples in the axle end, in order to accept the screws that pinch it in place. So it's actually not a bad fix. I mean, I would have done it a little differently. I probably would have just welded it back into place, but it slides on fairly easy, and then it screws into place. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take the torch eventually, heat that up, pop that piece of pipe off it, clean it up because they didn't wreck the inside, refit it to the end, and then I'll tack weld it into place like it's supposed to be. So that's going to be an easy fix. So that's that. No, now with the gear case cover, I will give a still picture of the gear case cover. As you can see, the gear case cover is pretty worn in this area where the nubs, that gear case cover is supposed to have nubs. So a gentleman that I know, I talked to him over the week, he is sending me a new gear case cover, a new hitch, and a lift arm for an RJ35. I have an original lift cable left over from another project, so all of that's going to be fixed and put back to the way it's supposed to be. So as you can tell, a little bit of work here, but nothing that I have not seen in the past, nothing that's really going to cause any kind of, you know, worrisome situations. Now I just wanted to show you a couple interesting things about this tractor that I just noticed over the last day or so. Number one, I should have mentioned in my first video, this is a Clinton, or originally had a Clinton engine on it, and the reason why we know that is because that drain hole for the engine oil in the frame is off center. If this tractor had a Kohler, the drain hole's in the center, kind of like where this Tecumseh drain hole is, but Clinton's had them off centered. So that's the reason why. And plus, 56 at this age would have had a Clinton engine on it anyways. A Kohler probably wouldn't have come around until later in production. Next, this is kind of interesting. This bolt holding the spring, they used a nut and washer, but right there is the hole for the cotter pin that's supposed to hold. So I've decided I'm going to weld up these holes. This one, this one, this one. That's the original one, this one, and then the opposing holes that are on the other side of the frame, I'm gonna weld those up and just make them nice. I don't know, I can't live with that. The front holes I'm gonna leave alone, but this just looks really bad. It won't look original, it's gonna burn the paint off, but I think it's just gonna be better. I'm just gonna do that. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld these 3 holes. The next project is going to be taking this off to see what is going on with this axle. I'm assuming that the weld broke, but we'll take this off. They actually, thank God, they used the original lift mount holes for the front, so that's good. So I'll just have to pull those bolts out. But these bolt holes here, I'm going to weld those up too. The paint's shot anyway, so weld those up and make that nice. So with that, that is where we stand as of today. I'm thinking I'm going to take the Tecumseh engine off it today too, but just assessing the damage, the wear and tear on this tractor, so we can get this one up and running for next spring, have some fun with it. Next thing we're going to do is take a look at that axle. I might not be able to do that today. I got a couple things going on. I just wanted to run out here this morning and take a look. I'm going to put it back together and roll it into the shed. But alright guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.